There are countless untold horrors to come out of renewed focus on the grooming gang scandal, but according to the political establishment and the legacy media, the biggest outrage over the industrial scale abuse of white working class English girls over a period of decades by predominantly Pakistani men is Elon Musk for talking about it. Yeah, that's easily the worst thing. Two-tier Kia's Clown World police state apparatus has been activated once again, with news that the official UK Counter-Extremism Unit is going to pour taxpayer money and resources into investigating Elon Musk's tweets. Elon Musk's tweets are being assessed by the government's counter-extremism unit has emerged. The Home Office unit has stepped up social media monitoring in the wake of the controversy over grooming gangs focusing on accounts with large followings such as those of the tech billionaire. The Home Office's counter-extremism unit sits within the Homeland Security Group, whose mission is to reduce national security risks to the UK's people, prosperity and freedoms. Apparently, Elon drawing attention to the issue of the grooming gangs represents a national security threat to the UK, and people wonder why every single Labour MP voted against a new investigation into grooming gangs, despite the victims demanding it. But it gets worse. The UK's head of counter-terrorism policing was accused of mishandling the Rotherham abuse scandal by failing to act on known reports of abuse, and he's the one now investigating Elon Musk's tweets. They're clearly trying to make an example out of Musk to frighten other people away from talking about the subject. Recall how during the riots, UK authorities threatened to arrest people for simply retweeting insulting information.
Publishing or distributing material which is insulting or abusive, which is intended to or likely to start racial hatred. So if you retweet that, then you're republishing that, and then potentially you're committing that offence.
Then some called for Musk himself to be arrested for inciting the riot simply because he defended people who were being thrown in prison for years over social media posts. Musk isn't even a British citizen, yet they're feverishly laying the groundwork for him to be incarcerated simply because he talks about British political issues. Apparently, billionaires expressing political opinions is suddenly a dire threat to democracy and national security, but only when those opinions run counter to the prevailing orthodoxy of the political class. Billionaires like George Soros can interfere in Western countries and they're celebrated and given awards for it. But as soon as Elon Musk tweets so much of a whimper of dissent directed against Keir Starmer's police state, and he needs to be locked up. Lest we forget, the Labour government is actually considering curtailing Britain's special relationship with the United States if Donald Trump ends up sharing the same views as Elon Musk and pushing the grooming gang issue too.
Absolute horror at the highest levels of the government.
Horror? Really? So they're finally taking the grooming gang's issue seriously?
At the incendiary language we have seen from Elon Musk.
Oh, so the absolute horror isn't directed towards the fact that the political establishment covered up the grooming gang scandal, abandoned the victims, in some cases deliberately silenced them. The horror isn't in response to the appalling abuse that these girls suffered over multiple years. No, the true horror is directed towards Elon Musk for daring to talk about it. And for that, they're literally willing to jeopardise Britain's geopolitical alliance with the United States of America. Probably the most important and consequential alliance in world history.
Then there may well be some very, very serious questions about the nature of our ongoing security partnership with the United States.
Wow.
Utterly, truly insane. The world is on the brink of a food crisis. And thanks to rising fertilizer demand and the fallout from the Ukraine-Russia conflict, some experts are warning of further food price increases and shortages. Within 2 generations, we're going to have to produce double the amount of food to feed our growing population. The main culprit here is potash. It's a critical fertilizer that has skyrocketed by 400% in the past few years. High potash prices have a significant downstream effect on food prices and the nutritional quality of crops, creating a ripple effect throughout the global food system. Take Brazil, for example. They produce 1 in 10 of food plates globally, yet import 98% of the potash they use. Enter Brazil Potash Corp, the sponsor of today's video, listed on the NYSE American under the symbol GRO. Their Autazes project, if constructed, will produce roughly 2.4 million tons of potash annually once operating at full capacity, enough to satisfy 20% of Brazil's needs. The mine is expected to have a life of 23 years at this rate, based on exploration of only 5% of the project's basin, meaning multi multi-generational production potential. The project is located near the Amazon River system, offering a major reduction in shipping costs and travel time to reach farmers. The total cost to extract, process and deliver from Atases is expected to be less than half of imported potash and take only 2.5 days transit time versus over 100 days. Construction permitting is in place, and the company just closed a $30 million IPO towards financing the construction of the project. They're backed by a world-class team to bring their plan to fruition. Mayo Schmidt, who helped build Nutrien into the world's largest potash producer with a 23 billion market cap, has joined as executive chairman. He brings over 30 years of agricultural experience, previously holding senior positions in ConAgra Grain and General Mills, and being the architect that created Viterra, which is currently being acquired for $8.2 billion. He's joined by the former Attorney General of Brazil, the former Minister of Agriculture, and the former Senator of the largest farming region in Brazil as part of the advisory board. Many producers have also jumped on board. Franco-Nevada Corporation has signed on as a cornerstone investor, and the Imagi Group secured an off-take agreement. As they move toward production, Brazil Potash could establish itself as a significant player in a fast-growing market. Wall Street has seen the sector's growth potential, with institutional investors and more than 77 hedge funds adding potash stocks to their portfolio over the past year. As always, do your own research. But in my view, it's a great time to check out Brazil Potash Corp, listed on the NYSE under the symbol GRO via the link down below. Despite Starmer's Labour government desperately blocking a new inquiry into the grooming gangs because their predecessors and many individuals still at the top of the political establishment were instrumental in covering it up, genuinely horrific details of what's been happening up and down the UK continue to be revealed. Like fathers being told by police to shut up about their daughters being gang raped because it might be seen as racist and they would be arrested.
When I found out, I phoned the police up. Police constable come, 2 of them, basically told them what has been going on, told me to let it go, otherwise I will get arrested for being racist. She could pick any boyfriend she wanted. She was 13-year-old and he was 20.
I don't know what to say to you. I mean, first of all, thank you. Thank you for on the show. You're telling me the police genuinely said to you, let it go?
Let it go.
Your 13-year-old daughter is being groomed by a 20-year-old who's travelled 18 miles to your hometown. You're phoning me now live from Lancashire. Your daughter was raped by a Muslim man. You know this for a fact. She admitted that. You went to the police and nothing has ever happened.
Nothing happened. The only thing that happened is that 4 cars and a van came up from Oldham to look for me, to do me.
Don't forget, this was happening against the backdrop of a deliberate policy to cover up the scandal, because the Labour government thought it would jeopardise the image of the UK as a diversity-friendly multicultural haven. In some cases, the police would respond to fathers physically trying to rescue their daughters from the hands of these vile criminals by arresting the fathers.
Jack, your daughter was being abused by gangs and the police were doing nothing. But they did come for you. What happened when you tried to save her from an abuse den?
I was arrested outside, put in police car, taken away. We lived up next estate, so as we were passing, the stop car told me that I would be arrested, to go in house and don't go back. I was that mad and furious, I went back to the flat. Within a few minutes, police were back, but this time in a van, and it were only a few minutes. So there must have been some on the street waiting, because they must have known I was going back.
So they were watching this flat where your daughter was being abused. They weren't going in to save her, but they did go in to arrest you. Twice.
Yeah, they arrested me second time, took me down to the police station, kept me in there. About an hour and a half later, they come into, because they didn't put me in a cell, they put me in a room. They took me out of the room, took me out through the police station, into the front bit with public, go to report crimes. Took me outside and said, right, go home, because if you go back to that flat, we're going to arrest you for stalking. And I don't know if you know or not, but there's serious new stalking laws coming, and we'll arrest you for stalking the occupants of that house.
extraordinary.
Quite strange, isn't it, that a political class which prides itself on being courageously anti-racist not only turns a blind eye to and whitewashes, but in some cases purposefully conceals the most obvious example of organised racial abuse, given that it specifically targeted white girls in modern history. But forget all that. The biggest outrage is Elon Musk for talking about it. The abuse itself shouldn't be investigated. No. Elon Musk should be investigated for making people aware of it. If you value what I do and you want to help support me, please visit pauljosephwatson.locals.com and either pledge a one-time donation or subscribe to join my community, get early access videos, and message me directly. And exclusive live streams coming soon too. Promise. Check out the Locals link down in the description. And don't forget to take a look at the brand new website modernity.news. That's where you'll find all my content, including exclusive articles. That's modernity.news.